Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pause Your Game Podcast. We are here once again. This is episode, I believe it's 138 we're at now. This is episode 138. It is in the middle of July. It is hot as balls this weekend.
You don't even know.
It is insanely hot. People are dying. I've seen
It's
a
not
lot
triple
of ambulance.
digits. It's not triple digits, Mitch.
It feels like
It's
triple
106 here.
digits. Well, in
Yeah,
Bath,
so
part
you
of
don't
the
really
world.
have any room to talk
Plus,
at all.
plus two.
It is
106
hotter
plus
than
two.
fucking
Plus two.
plus two.
Plus two.
That's that desert tribute bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet Jesus. There
Plus-
does not need to be any kind of
Plus
bonus.
two. But we have, over where
Plus
I'm
two
at,
to dying.
we got the humidity. We bring in the humidity.
Oh, the humidity.
So we'll get like it's 95, but then it feels like 105.
Is that
yeah,
kind
you
of
got
like the
some
humanity?
humidity, all right.
You bring the
Oh,
humidity.
the
the
humidity.
humidity.
Yeah.
Oh, the humidity.
it
That's
like
right.
that?
That's
yeah,
right.
I think you could definitely drop down on two knees and scream that if you really needed to. But
So
we
what'd
are
you do this
here-
weekend, Mitch?
I went the humidity and then just goes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god, it was terrible. All right, so we got. I mean, this week it's pretty light on the news. It's not exactly the most interesting.
We're still in the
Snack
recovery
sandwich
cycle here, I
size.
think.
Right. I mean,
And-
snack size, Beth.
It's
For
the
all of
slider
our-
It's a
edition.
snack. The
Slider
snack.
edition.
Yeah, it's
I like it.
sliders.
For all of our
That's
listeners
good.
here who may enjoy the enterprise, the new fad of going
God, I'm
around
hungry.
chasing animals that don't exist, Mitch is like, that we did that for like a week, and we're
We did.
done. All right, that was the news cycle. All right, we
Yeah.
don't need
There's
to do this
nothing wrong
for
with
longer than
chasing
1 week.
invisible.
I mean, because it's
We've
not
had a
relevant
Pokemon
anymore.
Go cycle.
So what if it's like if it's relevant 2 months from now? We are not touching that again. So no more
Whatever.
Pokemon
Okay,
Go.
Oh,
so
you
then
don't
why are we
want
going to
to.
talk about the CS:GO shit when we
Yeah,
talked
that's
about that a
right.
week ago?
We already talked about that a week ago too. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
don't know why,
but
like-
yet we're going to talk about it again then.
I'm
Yeah.
so confused, like how this is against me.
It
for not
is
wanting
because
to
you made
talk
this
ab-
decision, but I just want
Well,
our
what
listeners.
else are we going to talk about with Pokemon Go?
Listen, Mitch. I'm just performing and fulfilling my duty of throwing you completely under the bus to our listeners. So there you go.
I don't know what else new are we going to talk about with Pokemon Go? Nothing
In-
new's happened. There's
I
still
offered-
Pokemon
There was
out
an
there.
I
update.
offered
There was
to-
an update.
Oh my god!
There was an update, and I offered to do
What
an
did it
extra
do?
bit and all this stuff.
It was supposed to help with the server shit, and then
See?
they released in several
And I
more
was going
countries
to-
yesterday.
And I was
There,
going to
done.
rant. I was going to rant from my
Done.
porch in my rocker. So
Done.
I was going to.
Get
say,
off
get
my
off
lawn.
my lawn.
You
You
were telling
Pokemon
my
Yeah,
kids
Go
get off
fucking
your lawn.
knew it.
Yeah.
Damn kids.
God.
How
damn.
dare you guys go
treachery.
get fucking exercise and
But
get out of
you
your
You
house?
kids
But
planning
thanks-
treachery.
Yeah,
Thanks
you,
to-
you
thanks-
damn kids, go get a job because you ain't got one clearly because you're playing Pokemon in the middle
That's
of the
right.
day.
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
you know what? Mitch is just like, nope. It's 1 week and done. We aren't doing this again.
We got nothing new to talk about. There's nothing. What do you want to do?
My
Here,
new
this is
job
your
has a
opportunity.
Pokestop nearby.
This is your opportunity.
So I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, this is your opportunity. What's there new to talk about besides that there's more Pokemon? and-
Pokemon.
Email Mitch
that
at
I'm hoping
pauseyourgame.com.
that we get a Pokemon game, Go game.
And don't email us at that non-existent email address that he gave you, because
Yeah.
emailing a website is not going to really get you
That's
anywhere.
right.
What
You-
you
you
want
can-
is podcast at pauseyourgame.com. That's where
Right.
you send these things.
Right.
But I mean,
Way
look
to
here.
go.
I'm opening the floor. all
Are
right?
you?
We're-
Are
we're-
you? No. This isn't about us. This is about our listeners, and I'm telling them how to get in touch with you and tell you what a
No,
complete and
I'm
total
opening the floor now. If you
ridiculous-
want to, if you got something to talk about,
we don't have
Pokemon
listeners
Go,
here, Mitch. You're just running an inside job here. All right, you're
Inside
not.
job.
This is. I
Like
don't.
an inside
It's not. We
handy.
don't matter. Okay, it's our listeners that matter, and you heard that here from me. All right.
Oh my God! Shut
Yeah,
up.
you believe this bullshit? Not for a
No.
second. Not
No.
from him. No.
No.
In Fallon's world,
If somebody
brec-
else said it, maybe.
That's right. Breakfast matters for Fallon and nothing more.
Well,
You
bre-
need to feed
Yeah,
the
okay,
beast.
see,
is
there
the
you
most
go.
Important meal of the day. So.
Oh God. All right, let's jump in here.
I don't know. I
Let's
think
jump in.
pizza is the most important
Splash.
meal of the day, but that's just
It really
Pizza
is. I agree.
the most important meal of any day.
100%.
Pizza for breakfast.
I love
Called
pizza.
bread
for
breakfast.
Pizza's on a bagel. You can eat pizza anytime.
I'll have
okay?
cold pizza with coffee
Thank
all
you.
day, every day.
Thank you, Beth, for that
You're
for that
welcome.
ad spot there.
That's right.
This
I should get
episode is
some
brought
money
to
for
you
that.
by Bagel Bites.
Bagel bites. That's right.
if you don't die, it'll give you cancer.
That's right.
Well,
But you'll-
what won't give you cancer, honestly?
I heard living has a very high chance of giving
Yeah,
you cancer.
y-
Yeah.
Water,
Yeah.
water gives you
Yeah.
cancer.
Living has
Especially
a near
if you're in
100%,
Detroit. Or I'm
near
sorry,
100%
Flint.
fatality.
Flint, my bad.
There you go.
Flint.
All
give-
right.
Flint water.
Flint water.
All right, let's jump in. We got Valve. We're back to Valve
Why?
because
Why?
Why
Because
not?
Mitch has crawled up
Why
their
not?
ass so far that he can't find his way out.
what the fuck? I don't even want to hear it from you. You and
Can't
you
even
and,
fucking win.
You and Bethesda are fucking trading BJ's in the back corner.
I'm
over
still
there. I don't
waiting
even
for
wanna
them
hear
to
it.
like promise me something I want to hear.
I
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't.
Oh my
I hope
God.
they don't,
Yeah.
just so it kills you on the inside.
Look, all that you need, and we know this, is that Bethesda could be in just falling apart, blowing people on the street, just trying to get money to develop a game. But then if they said Elder Scrolls 6, you would have been like, I'll be right there on line. I'll be in the line.
Not just
I'll be
Elder
in the
Scrolls
line.
6. There needs to be a date behind that, right? Like if they
You'll be
said
in the
Elder
line.
Scrolls 6 with their trembling hands, right, and all of that mess all over their face, right?
You
know-
would come over there. You'd be like, all is forgiven.
Like no, I'd be like, is there a date attached? And if they somehow manage with the rest of their teeth that are still left in their mouth to actually like say a date, then I'll be listening. And that's where we're at with that, okay? Because
Yeah,
right now
yeah.
we got no date for that, and
Yeah,
I'm not.
all I'm
I don't
hearing is
care.
you
I
just
don't
wait.
care. Yeah,
Episode 200 will be found Elder Scrolls 6 date.
that's right. We got the biggest announcement in the world for you today.
Like,
We have millions of
"Ah!"
people who have loved Skyrim and have loved Bethesda games, and we have that announcement for you today. We are happy to bring it to you. I will do an extra bit just to do the announcement.
That would
So,
be terrifying.
yeah.
That's a terrible extra bit.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of. That's just nobody listens
I'm,
to that.
I'm,
'cause
I'm hoping that whatever they announce is Skyrim 2.
yeah,
That's what I'm hoping.
They've already announced that. It's called Remastered.
No,
Yeah.
I
It's
want
not
an actual
2.
2.
he wants a sequel.
I want a sequel.
The North again.
Yeah.
Skyrim
The
2
North again.
in the North again.
Yeah. Skyrim 2, it's colder than shit here.
Yeah, still cold.
So cold, I have no balls.
Yeah.
Dragons still cold. All right.
Yeah.
So we have Valve. Valve is now finally getting their feet wet into this whole skin gambling thing. So last week we talked about how Valve generally doesn't even touch these things. Valve goes, it's not our problem, or maybe it is our problem, but we're not
But
going
we're
to
not
say it's our
acknowledging
problem.
it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
We're
right.
just kind of going to sit here and go, what?
Yeah. What? No, they shouldn't. I mean, they shouldn't do that, but we're not going to tell them.
But we don't know
explicitly.
anything. But we're not.
That-
But we're not taking a position. But we don't know what you're talking about. So
That's right. This is the first we've heard of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that doesn't exist, and thus we can't do anything on something that doesn't exist.
Right.
That's how that
True
works.
that.
Yeah.
And
So
last
for-
week we had justifications as to why that was even a valid approach, but now it seems that even Valve themselves cannot stand back and say, "Well, I mean, what are we supposed to do about it?"
Oh, we've heard of this. Yeah. Oh.
Now
the skin
that
gambling?
now that
No
enough
way.
people have brought this to our attention, it seems to be a thing. So thank
Yeah.
you, people, for informing us of the problems we have.
That's right.
Right.
If I was like, oh, you meant the skin gambling.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
yeah,
We're not.
yeah,
We're not
we're
for
working
that.
We're all over.
Yeah.
We're all over
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah,
We're on
yeah.
it. We're on it.
We're
because
fixing
we're
that shit.
responsive. Yeah, we're a
That's right.
responsive.
And
it-
responsible.
it really is. These companies are not doing themselves any favors by waiting for the press sites to say, "Hey, what's
Well,
going
it's-
on?"
It's not so much they have to. It's not so much they got to wait on them. It's the thing over there. They go, what do we have to? What are we gonna say so we don't fucking trap ourselves in the fucking corner?
Yeah.
I'm
Fuck
100%
themselves, yeah.
with Brad on this one. Having
Yeah.
actually done this before,
They have to sit back and go.
I know exactly
can
what
we
this
say?
is talking about.
What can we say? What can't we say? And lawyers take forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lawyers
like-
take forever.
It's not only that, but it's just there's usually very little benefit to responding immediately.
Yeah.
Usually there's very little benefit.
Because
in
apart
immediately.
from not getting the bad attention.
Well, the thing is that you're gonna get ripped apart. So
Yeah.
if they said something right away and then go, shit, we shouldn't have said that. Now we've painted ourselves in this corner, and now we're legally
yeah, you got to
fucked.
stand by it.
We got to stand by it because we don't want to look like, I don't know, name any shitty company that's open, any political party that opens their mouth and then has to retract.
But you do
Right.
that
So
all the time,
Republican.
Brad.
Right, but you want to avoid that.
But it doesn't seem to matter, really.
No, it does. It does. It
To
totally
some
does.
people,
I mean,
to some companies, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does actually.
I don't know.
matter.
I don't know any companies like that, but okay.
I know that for a fact. It's. I mean, I can say this from experience that it is better to wait before you say something.
I love
than
how
to
you're
just jump
speaking
out
from
in
experience. What game company have you ever worked for?
I haven't worked for a game company.
For all intents and purposes, Beth has a closer connection to and experience with game companies than you do.
Hanging
Yeah.
out in the
Haven't worked-
closet at Blizzard is not really.
Oh
count.
my God! Shut up.
But
That's
anyway,
never going away. I hate
saying
it.
No,
I,
it's really
I can.
not.
It's not going away.
I
I
hate
hate
you
you.
Anyway,
What else
I
you
can
gonna
say
say to
that
that?
generally it's better to wait and not say anything until you know exactly what you want to say and what it covers than to jump out in front of something and then go, oh fuck, I shouldn't have said that, or maybe what you said what happens somehow changes, so then what you said just it instantly changes into something else and then you're back. It's just better to wait. Just fucking wait. So I understand the waiting. I get that. I
And
would
it
never-
works for people who can't come up with a response. Like
Yeah,
right
right.
away.
Sometimes waiting it just goes under the rug itself.
You
Like
know,
nobody does
folks.
it. It
Folks,
just
that's a
gets
wonderful
forgotten
piece of
about.
that's a wonderful piece of advice for personal relationships as well. You know, I mean, if
Just
you
be
get
quiet
caught,
until it goes
that's
away.
Right, that's right. You just be quiet, and if you're questioned on it, if you're interrogated, just say,
I have no idea what you're talking
I don't
about."
know what you're talking about, and I would not be able to tell you even if I did, and I'm not sure what all those emails and text messages and phone calls are about. I'm not sure.
Never got 'em.
I never
Oh
got.
my God!
Never got him.
Wow.
I've never once got him.
I don't.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
recognize those messages
Tinder
there.
profile.
Never not
What is
once.
Tinder?
Yeah, what's Tinder?
Ah.
Never heard of it.
Right.
Never heard of it.
There
No,
you
I did
go.
not
So
install
straight
this
from
on my
our
phone.
PR specialist, that's how you handle all those situations.
I'm dead serious. Like you just fucking wait and you play it off like you've never heard about it until you come out with something that may say that you know about it. But you gotta wait, and that way you can craft it in such a way that you can just hit
That
all
you're
the points
you're
in one
taking
go.
care of it.
Yeah,
Right,
you
right.
hit
Like
all-
Steam is doing. So basically, what Steam is doing is they're basically saying, "Look, I didn't know about this, but you know what? I'm going to take care of it. How are you going to take care of it? Look, we haven't worked out the details, but I promise you, babe, we're going to take care of it. It's okay." So-
Oh,
Yeah, well, I
dear.
think this one they're.
When somebody
they're
says
sending cease and
"babe," I'm going to be
desist.
having some problems here.
Yeah, but they're saying I think they're sending cease and desist letters basically of you can't
Stop
be
it.
gambling.
yeah,
Fucking
you can't,
stop.
you can't call me anymore.
Yeah, that's what that is. I'm getting a restraining order. I'm done with this shit. She's crazy. I don't know what you're talking
She
about.
cray.
Yeah.
She's
Keeps
so
calling me at
cray.
weird fucking
Right,
hours.
this is not my fault.
That's right.
I've changed my phone
I mean,
number
and
a couple different
that's
times
a
now.
response you take. You go like, well, these idiots are gambling, and we do not condone their gambling, because again, that's them on their terms. But we understand how that might be an issue, so we're gonna step in and send some cease and
We're going to do
desist
the right
letters.
thing here.
Well,
we're
that's
going to
the
do the
thing.
right
They
thing.
The
had- they
right
had to do
champion.
their legal thing first and go, okay, okay, what do we got to do? Okay, we got to send these letters out. We got to change our policy, but we're not going to say anything until we get this all our ducks in a row and can do it all at once
Quack,
That's right.
quack,
and be done with it.
Quack,
So,
quack.
quack, 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 quack.
so
quack,
they
quack,
they
quack,
send
quack,
out their cease and
Quack, quack,
desist.
quack, quack, quack,
They're
quack.
going to change their terms of use, whatever, and then they'll be done with it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're gonna do. And then just anybody who does it again, they get a cease and desist letter. And
Well, no,
then
if they do it again, what's going to happen is terms of service
Suit.
changes. Probably going to get your ass banned.
yeah,
Yep.
You
I
won't be
agree.
buying
So there
Steam
you
games
go.
no more.
I don't know. Does Valve, does Gabe do mass bannings? I mean, the only company that's really notorious for that is Blizzard. Like, they don't mind banning like millions of accounts all in
I'm
one fell
pretty
swoop.
fucking sure that Square does it too
Steam
for
bans
Final
people.
Fantasy.
Steam
Does
totally
it?
bans.
Yeah.
I haven't.
You don't hear
can't
about the
remember.
mass
skill
ban,
set.
Right, you don't.
but
So it's like shadow banning, right?
Well, I just
Like
don't
you
think it's
said,
as many.
douchebags
is that
can't do
people
nothing.
are just like, I've spent a lot of money. Like, say douchebag A has all of Train Simulator and all its DLC. Well, you don't really
Goddamn
want to
douchebag, eh?
You really don't want to get banned from Steam. You spent $5,000 on DLC.
Right, because you didn't spend like $15 or $16 every month in World of Warcraft. Dude.
Well, but the thing is, with World of Warcraft,
cost?
but with World of Warcraft, you can just make another account.
Oh, I thought they were just banning like users from there,
Like
all the
IPs
time.
or-
I
No,
don't
you
know.
just
You
have
just
to
make
buy
another account.
everything again.
You just
make
buy
another
everything again,
account.
but at the same time, right now you go buy. I think it's all the way up to Warlords now, as the battle pack. Okay, so what?
Yeah, you
So
spend $20.
You spend $20,
caught
you're
up.
back in Warlords. You spend another $60, you're the Legion again.
So you're saying
Train
it's not really
Simulator.
effective.
It's not very effective with Warcraft. With Steam,
Warcraft.
you lose.
When you got
all of
$5
your
grand
games.
sunk in Train
Yeah,
Simulator.
you got $5 sunk in Train Simulator. You're gonna keep
gonna
your
leave a
mouth
mark.
shut. Yeah. You're going to make fake accounts so you can run your mouth, not
There's
doing
a-
it on
there's
your
a-
real ones.
Really penciled in asterisks on your bank account that you cannot
Yeah.
you cannot just ignore.
Like if the wife catches you out and about, like, well, you spent all that money in Train Simulator. Yeah, I got banned.
Yeah.
That'd be the first death.
You stupid son of a bitch.
Exactly.
That's right. You goddamn it, you bought the Northeastern Atlantic line again?
Yeah. We lost
Like, if you have this money to
$10,000.
spend,
Where
here's a
did it go?
divorce.
So,
That's right.
I can see this being
Two
totally a
purchases for the fucking Amtrak cross county.
I can see
Jesus
this
Christ.
totally being a topic for marriage counseling. He just won't stop buying expansions for trains.
And he's just sitting there stone cold
He keeps
in like a
getting
conductor
banned, and
hat.
so he keeps fucking buying it.
Conductor
Oh,
hat
God.
and overhauls.
Oh, my
my
god.
God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Just stone cold. Like, I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't understand. What
I like
All right.
trains.
As a member of the Pause Your Game audience, based on research studies, you enjoy listening to podcasts and discussion of a variety of issues and trends in the gaming industry. Your interests are wide, ranging from dragons to VR, esports and raids, headshots and horror straight out of your nightmares. You expect to have your intellect tested, your horizons expanded, and your imagination engaged, and we know one podcast a week will not sate your appetite. So head on over to audibletrial.com/pause your game for a free 30-day trial and an audiobook on us. No matter what you seek, whether it's space marines or creatures out of myth, Audible will have a book you can listen to read by professionals like us while you wait for our next episode. But don't take our word for it. See for yourself. Go to audibletrial.com/pause your game and start listening to your free audiobook today.
Let's move on. Let's move on to something that this is. I like this piece of news because it shows that Fallon has. He might in fact have a childhood, or there is some like inner child within him.
Well, I'd
But it'll
like
also
to point
show-
out. I'd like to point out that he's wrong in his
Why?
all digital
isn't he?
content
Yeah.
because this is a fucking box. Look at
Yeah.
it. It's a box.
Bitch.
So-
Let's wait. You're leaving out one very
You're missing the
critical
point, obviously.
detail. Okay,
That it's
who
a
is
box?
producing this? Oh, it's Nintendo. Who's
yet-
the company that is the one to slowest evolve? Oh, it's Nintendo. Who is the one that we're
You know,
still
they're
waiting
doing a
on
good
some
job.
kind of physical mention of a next generation console from? Oh, it's Nintendo. Okay,
We're gonna talk
at the
about
end of the
that.
fucking lifespan, okay, there is only one company that will perhaps not even make it to all digital, and that is Nintendo. For all you
Nintendo-
box lovers, that will be
I'm gonna tell you-
Nintendo.
I'm
They
gonna
will
tell
be
you right
there
now.
for you.
Nintendo
right?
got enough money to just float their way down to 2090. Like if they just said fuck it and they could just float
and
on
here's
down
a
to
company
2090.
that doesn't understand that its latest for the past year, right? Mitch knows this. Nintendo stock has gone nowhere. All right, absolutely nowhere. They've
Oh,
been
dear.
treading water and basically
serious
like,
right now?
I'm serious. I am. Go ahead and
Their
check the
stock
market.
rose like a fucking 8 billion.
Beth,
because
Beth,
of Pokemon
Beth,
Go. What?
I'm not
What?
talking about that. Okay, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Okay, for the
No.
past year, it went nowhere. And then what happens, right? What you just said. Okay, their stock went through the roof. On what? I'd like everybody to realize that the product
of
that actually
Pokemon
made
Go.
it move was digital. Okay, so there you go. All right,
I'd
Nintendo
like
doesn't
to
know what
back
the
up the
hell they're
boat a
doing.
little bit. I'd like to back up the boat a little further.
Can you back up a boat?
I'm going to.
You're,
just
gonna
so
backwash that shit.
Fallon, just so Fallon knows.
Jesus Christ.
I want you right now, Fallon, before this podcast
Oh.
ends, to download Pokemon Go and
Do
make an
it.
account. That's
Do
it. That's all I
it.
want you to
Do
do.
it.
No.
And then I want you to watch as the title screen comes up or the makers come up and watch how Nintendo's fucking name isn't even fucking on it.
No, Nintendo owns the Pokemon company pretty much.
No, they own 10% of the Pokemon company, and they're not
I'm
receiving
really
a fucking
get it down
thing.
here. Nintendo owns 30% of the company who makes Pokemon. They're like the majority shareholder, but they do not have a.
Or do they not have any kind of Same.
No, I'm sorry. They own the most shares, but they don't own a majority, as in they don't own over 50%. Like, they don't have absolute
A
say.
majority here, because in France, as we all know,
No, in France. Okay, so in France, if you own
Ubisoft.
30,
Oh,
you
here
have
we
to
go.
say that I'm going to buy 50. All right, that's
Yeah.
the rule. It's not that you can sit at 30. You have to basically say at 30, I'm going to go for broke. So with Nintendo, they own like 30% of Game Freak.
so it's
which
a
is
lion's share though. That's a pretty sizable
right.
chunk.
They own the largest one. Like they're the single
Right,
largest owner
right.
of it, basically. But they don't own a majority.
Well,
And then
they-
that means that they earn like something like 10% of the money that Pokemon.
I
Go
fail to
makes.
see
That's
how
it
this is an
trickles
argument
down.
against me. Okay, either they own a majority share and my argument is valid, or they don't and they didn't come up with it and they're benefiting from it. My argument's
Well,
still
I'm not,
valid.
it's not to say that they're not benefiting from it, but they only get like 10% of the money. That
We didn't think
Pokemon
of this,
Go's
but we're making money off of it because we're still stuck on boxes. End of argument. Oh, Your Honor, I think this case is dismissed.
Oh my god.
There, Mitch.
fucking
That's
idiot.
how
Oh,
I
Helen.
shit all over your box.
And
You
yet,
should
No,
probably
and
stop
so-
shitting on boxes.
and
That
yet,
doesn't
Nick,
So
seem
anyway-
Nintendo is
fair.
making a button for the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. A button.
So
Physical.
we have not.
Well, as
actually
Mitch has
said-
told me, Nintendo is
Oh
all
my
over
God.
them peripherals.
Yeah. All right. Look, I've not actually said the news topic yet. Like we have managed to
we have
skirt
just
around
been
it.
going
That's all
around
right.
the news topic. It has to deal with
Anyway.
the box,
All right.
folks. It's physical
So-
and material and box.
Nintendo is
Box.
launching the NES Mini, which is coming out this holiday, and it basically has 30 NES games on it. It's like those old school like plug and play.
The original
but, like,
NES, folks.
Yeah, and it looks like one, and it's like those. Like I said, it's like those old school plug and plays that Sega's produced like hundreds of.
Yeah, they got
Yeah,
the
they
Genesis
can't
and
do
then
anything
the Atari
else.
has too.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like one of those, but it's made by Nintendo. It comes with a retro controller that you can use for other things because it's a USB controller.
Nice.
So you can definitely use that controller for other things, and it comes with 30 games on it. And this is the proof. As I was telling Fallon, this is the proof that Fallon does in fact perhaps have somewhere in him an inner child, because I told him, I'm like, this is your fucking Christmas gift. I'm done. This is it. This is the gift I'm getting you, because these are all the fucking games he used to play when he was little. And he
Aw.
knows when he gets it, he's gonna bitch and moan. He's gonna complain. He's gonna like, you're such a shit for getting this. But I fucking know that he's just gonna be sitting there playing this in front of the TV for days on end. And as he sits there and goes plays the original Castlevania, and he goes plays the original fucking Zelda, and goes plays what else was on there that you were like, oh man, I used to play all that.
I played like 80-90% of these games.
And you're all gonna play him again. God damn it.
Just
That's what's
out
happening.
of curiosity, we have physical proof of some kind that Fallon was a child.
Yes, there's right here. This is it. This is
Okay.
it. I can't wait till he receives this as a gift, because then maybe he'll, stop being.
I
a shit
understand
as much.
this news bit is like a news bit, but it's mostly directed at me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it's aggressively directed
it's
at you.
aggressively directed at me, and Mitch has been searching for a long time for any indication, any evidence as ever a child, and so basically this was
This will
like
unearth it.
this was like the last console I ever had. Like this was the first and last. It was. After this, it really went downhill fast. And I played all the games on here. At a tender young age that may have or may not have
Tender
been
young
like
age, he says.
single digits. So yeah, it was a time in my life where I did not have the taste or discrimination that I have now. So
Are you gonna make him buy the USB power cord himself though?
no,
No, it
he's
com-
going to
no, it
supply.
comes
He
in
may
the-
even drive up and hook it up for me.
the
'cause he
US
wants to
one comes
see
with the
this
power
happen.
cord.
Yeah.
I don't know why the EU one does not come with a power cord, but the US one does. I don't understand that. I don't even pretend to understand
It's
that.
the EU, okay? I don't.
There's got to be some weird thing about it that they don't include it with, but
It must be the way they power things over there because they have different plugs.
they got those
They
weird
do.
fucking
They
plugs.
got
the
these
weird,
weird
plugs, so it
plugs,
could be
yeah.
that.
Damn European plugs. But there is another aspect I want to talk about besides just, sitting here and, yelling at Fallon that he, does have a childhood, and this will bring it out. And that is, this is a fucking huge missed opportunity for Nintendo. And I know, I can know Fallon's probably sitting there like, I'm waiting for this. This is his time. He finally realizes it. But I agree that this is a huge missed opportunity for Nintendo. And I think, Brad, we were talking about this a little, that The fact that
Like,
you
just a
can't
little.
fucking download additional games on this thing is like the biggest oversight Nintendo could have possibly ever
I
had.
think what's
with
gonna
it.
happen, and I actually after thinking about it, this kind of makes sense that it wouldn't, because I think what's gonna happen is that the box has all those games on it, but and it's a USB, which makes it universal. So why not sell stupid little controllers so that come out? So you got the Nintendo controller, right? That plays all that. But then you plug in a Super Nintendo controller, and here's 30 games from the Super Nintendo.
No,
Or
I'm
here's
gonna
30 games
take it
from
a
the
step
N64,
further.
Or here's,
I think I'm
that'd
gonna
be
take it a
kinda
step
cool.
further. They're gonna have whole different units like that. I don't think it's gonna be the controller. They're gonna have whole fucking different units because they made it sound like they're gonna be doing an SNES one and an N64 one
Holy
for
shit.
this as well.
I
Yes.
honestly think it would be better to do the controller. I mean, because you're
But
already
my-
looking at what the
Well, that's the
controller's
way
already, what,
Atari
like
and all the
$10.
rest of them did. They have those Atari controllers and everything else that have those
Yeah, I
games
mean-
right on them. So
Yeah,
it's like
with,
I don't know
with the
why.
fact that the controller is actually regular sized.
Yeah.
It's a regular sized controller that, well, mini, I guess, whatever. But still, I honestly think the way electronics work, you could just literally put oh, that's cool. If if you want the Nintendo one, cool. If you want the Super Nintendo, we're gonna offer it. But if you just want the games, here's a controller you can plug into that regular Nintendo.
And that's
See,
you
I
know
don't-
they can do that. And
They-
I'm with
they
Brad
could-
on
they
this.
could do
so
that.
yeah.
There's
yeah.
no reason
See,
they
I
couldn't
think
do
it's a
that.
missed opportunity. They could have made. This is my thought. They could have made these retro consoles, right, for like the N64, the SNES, NES, maybe even the GameCube at this point, and you could have had it where it came with so many games, and then it was linked up to the eShop where you could buy more games.
Digitally. Yeah, I
Right,
know.
digitally.
I'm
And
happy
then,
to hear
well,
that
I'm not
Brad
done
just
yet.
wants
Shut
to
the fuck
control-
up. I gotta finish this, damn it. Anyway, so
He's gonna
you
lose his
buy
train of
more
thought.
games. You get them on the eShop, right? So it comes with the 30, and then you're like, oh shit, I want to play that game too, and you can get that as well. And you can add it to the little console thing here. So each console was its own little platform for those throwback games. So you got the N64 one. You know it came with like Mario 64, but you're like, fuck man, I really want to play Donkey Kong 64, so you go and download it and buy it, and it's on there. And it's all tied into your brand new My Nintendo account. And then at some point, you're like, well, I have all these fucking games on here. I got one on the NES and the SNES and N64. I'm going to buy an NX. And then all those fucking games you have are on the NX as well. It could have been so much more awesome. It could have all tied in. Could have just all been bound to your account, and it would have served as a great way to kind of get people who are like on the NES and the SNES, those old fogies like Fallon, who that's all they played and never went past it, might actually maybe at some point push them to get maybe another one because they know it's all still there in the same system. But they just dropped the fucking ball here with this, and it pisses me off.
Ball dropping.
You can talk now. I'm done. I'm done
Oh,
ranting.
are you?
No.
I
I love
Are
how
you really
you're
done?
you're
They could do that. They could honestly have, a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the GameCube, 64. You bought your little mini version, and then, from there you went and got whatever. But I honestly think that if they did that, everybody's going to want at least one. So maybe eventually they will, but,
See, I don't see the value. See, for
I don't.
me,
I think the thing is they don't want people having these little things and then having access to the store, because
I don't know
then it's
why,
just
though.
like, well, they're not gonna buy a Wii U console. They're not gonna buy the NX. They have this.
no,
granted,
but I'm
they can't
thinking
play the
that
newest
this is a way
games,
for
but-
them to come into it, right? You buy it on the NES. The NES lets you buy other NES games.
Yeah.
And that's all it does. The SNES does the same thing. N64 does the same thing. And then at some point, they're tied to your account. So if you go and say, well, maybe I want a Nintendo console, you're like, well, shit, all those games will come over on there as well. So I can just use that instead now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a way. It's like just a kind of a way to ease them into it. Oh, I already have value in this system. It's kind of like the Xbox Play Anywhere thing where they're talking about it, where once you start buying into the system is when it really starts benefiting you.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really big missed opportunity, and I'm disappointed that it's just like a plug and play. That's all it fucking is. It's
Yeah.
a plug and play. Sega's been making these for years. God damn it.
Yeah, but Sega's been making them for years. But
And
do
they're
you
all
own
shitty.
one?
No, they're all shit. I own a legitimate Genesis. I have the
Legit,
Genesis.
yo.
Yeah. I
But
always
at
heard
the
they're
same time,
crappy.
they have so many things that connect to the store. They have to start shutting them down. I mean, eventually, the original 3DS that's going to be out. The XL one's going to be out of the store soon.
Yeah,
You know,
what? No,
they
what?
keep,
No,
they
they're
keep
not.
kicking all these things out. Did they just kick out one of the handhelds?
Yeah, the original DS.
Why?
Like, the DS.
Why?
Because it's fucking, like, 10 years old.
so
and
they're
it,
still,
and it
but-
doesn't even run. It doesn't even run the eShop. It runs like what the eShop was before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it
can't
ran.
update it.
Yeah, it's old and ancient. You can't go online for the Wii, for example. It's the same deal.
Why?
Because
Because
Nintendo
it's-
fails at anything digital. That's why.
Because
Just
it's
say
old.
what?
But,
It's
but,
old,
but what I'm saying
right?
is that, yeah, it's just like, but that's what I'm saying. You look at the 3DS now. If you log into the 3DS now, there are certain games you can't buy because it's only for the XL. They keep cutting off their own fucking heads.
There's like 4 games that you can't get for the new 3DS.
Why?
There's like 4 games.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because
Why?
there's a literal physical inability for the old system to play it. Like it's not
Okay,
like a
explain to me why a 3DS, an old the 3DX XL, can't play Super Mario Brothers World. They're the Super Mario Land, whatever the Super Nintendo one is, but the next generation can.
because it's a literal power jump. Like there's literally more power in the new 3DS. It's not like we just
To play a
restricted it.
Super Nintendo game.
I don't know if you looked up like what little oomph a 3DS actually has, but it has nothing. It has like no power in it. Like it's not much at all. And when you're emulating something, you have to essentially double dip in that power because it's not like you're running it natively. You have to emulate an NES within the system and then run the game, which takes a ton of power. And the 3DS has nothing in it. It's like, I mean, your phone outperforms it by miles. It's just one of those things. And the new 3DS actually improves a lot on it, so it can do that for an SNES. But that's where the line stops, because you're emulating it. It's not running natively. That's why you can run a Game Boy Advance game on a 3DS no problem, is because it actually runs it natively. Because what runs a Game Boy Advance game is the same thing that runs a DS and a 3DS. They're all just improved versions of the same processor. So what it does is it clocks itself down and basically pretends it's a GBA, so it plays just fine. But that's why when you play an SNES, you're not doing any of that. It's basically running a Super Nintendo within the 3DS. And that's why it doesn't work like that. Okay, then.
That just
Yeah,
sounds
there we
retarded.
go. Well, we just got school.
Well, there's
a
a difference between emulation and simulation, and then it's a whole
Hell
thing.
yeah.
That's why, like, if you ever run an emulator for like a PS2 on your computer, most of the time there's so much you have to fuck with to get it to work, because again, it's trying to run that PS2 within your computer that's then running the game. It takes an exponential amount of power to basically run it within itself, and it's no different for that. That's why it takes so much effort. But when you're just simulating it for, in case like the Game Boy Advance games, it just pretends it's a Game Boy Advance. That's why when you play any of those Game Boy Advance games on a 3DS, you can't do anything else outside of the game because it's pretending it's a GBA. And then it has to boot itself back up into being a 3DS again.
I think
Sounds
you've
like a
lost
lot of work
everybody.
it didn't need to go.
Yeah, really did.
It's doing a lot of things it clearly doesn't need to do.
Well, I mean,
To
how
run a
else
game.
is it going to fucking work? I mean,
I
that's
don't know.
Just run.
That's how you have to do it. Otherwise, you have to build it from the ground up to have it run natively, which is a whole other slew of thing. Then you have to reprogram everything to make it run on a 3DS.
Well,
So
it's not like
either
they're
way-
doing, but it's not like Nintendo's actually doing anything. So why not?
What do you? I don't know
It's
what you.
true.
Well, I mean, yeah, they definitely.
What the fuck are they doing other than putting out mini Nintendos?
They definitely could.
mini
but
Nintendos.
again, it's
That takes
not
a lot
just
of
like
people.
it's not just a 1-to-1. It's not just like make it work. There is a bit going on in there that makes it a bit
Well,
more.
they got all that
complicated.
money. What are they doing with it? Swimming in
I
it
don't-
like fucking Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, all right.
More
Well,
or
it's in a
less.
vault. It's in a vault.
It's in the
You're
vault.
asking for innovation and forethought from a company that has demonstrated neither of those two things ever. So
I love how you
Ever.
slam them for it, yet they've been around the longest.
you don't need. Well, that just goes to show you don't need innovation and forethought to be financially successful.
He's got a point.
You
Unfortunately,
know. But anyway, that's that. I know I kind of went on a rant there with this, but all right, let's move on then. Let's get to something that's a bit more like interesting to talk about.
interesting.
So here's the thing: is that we basically have a Gamescom is coming up this end of the month.
And nobody's going.
And yeah, in case you don't
Nobody's
know,
going. Yeah,
that is like that's supposed to be Europe's big thing.
Yep.
Gamescom is supposed to be Europe's big conference,
Yep.
and everyone said we ain't showing up. So Microsoft said, and then Sony said, and then Nintendo's the only one actually showing up, which is the weird part. So
And they don't
Well,
show
they
up
got
for
money.
anything.
They
yeah,
got
they
money.
got money. Yeah,
What else?
so
They might as well spend some money on, probably having.
No,
they probably gave them
Mitch-
a huge discount because nobody was coming to give them the biggest table in the thing.
Wait a minute. Okay,
What?
wait a moment. When
What?
you say Nintendo's showing up, what exactly does that mean?
they're
Because-
having a press conference.
so they're not just sending in a video.
I mean, that might be
they're not
how
phoning
they.
it in.
That,
do
that
the
might be
press
how they
conference.
show up. Okay, I don't count
Yeah.
that as showing up, all right? Because the news coverage for E3 was the same kind of thing. It was like Nintendo sent in a video. There you go. You got Zelda. We're done here. Thanks. Have a nice day. It's like
Hey, it was like a whole
why-
fucking day of Zelda, and people ate it up. They fucking loved it, and they killed
All
it.
Zelda. All
But I
the
don't
time.
know if that qualifies for showing up.
Hey, I count. Well, they're actually showing up in this case is saying you had a press conference. That's what
It's
we're
like leaving a sexy voicemail or something.
like.
It's
Microsoft will be there. They just won't be having a press conference. Sony will be there. They just won't be having a press conference. That's. But Nintendo should have an actual like announcement of sorts at Gamescom, instead of Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft had one last year, and then Sony skipped out last year, and so yeah, we'll see. I mean, but it's weird how it's just kind of fallen apart. The European conference here, there's just nothing going on. Maybe it's because it's too close to E3. People ain't got anything to talk about.
there's that, and where is it being held?
Britain.
Is it in Britain? Is that where it is?
Yeah, it may not be. I don't know. I think it might be.
You don't know where
Germany. It's either-
Gamescom's being held.
So
I'm
essentially,
looking
it's
it
going to be
up.
like the Summer Olympics. No one's showing up because no one wants to die.
Where is
Right.
where
I
is
mean,
Gamescom?
they just announced this like what 3 days ago or something. Is this following on? Is it in France or is it where?
I'm looking up right now where it is, and you think
Cologne.
it'd be really? Yes. Okay. So it's not in Britain.
That's not
There
Britain.
you go.
That's
not
that's,
Britain.
That's not Britain.
That's not Britain. That's in Germany. So it's in
Yeah.
Germany.
Yeah.
So it's in Germany, and
So
they're not
yeah,
really
I guess
having-
well nothing has really happened in Germany lately. So I guess that's not it. I was thinking if it was in France, maybe they're worried about that whole truck incident and all that stuff.
No, this
but-
was before that anyway.
Yeah.
These all dipped out before that whole thing. But yeah, no, it's in Germany, and basically nobody's doing any press conferences. I just almost wonder if it's just everybody's kind of been spent from E3. I know Sony last year, they said fuck it too. They were like, we'll do it in Paris. We'll have Paris Games Week. They'll
Well,
do
here's
their
what
thing.
happened at E3. E3 fell through too. I mean, you keep acting like they spent themselves there. It's like, well, in a lot of ways, they all bailed on that too. I mean, yes, I know that Microsoft was still there, but it's a lot of them.
Well, yeah,
decided to
yeah,
have
I
their own
agree. Sony
conferences,
didn't
so-
show too much.
Yeah.
Microsoft basically said we have a like a smaller console, and then we have some
Well,
shit to
what
talk
we're
about
really
about this.
seeing here is
new
a lack
one.
of support for conferences this year. Like
I think
a
it's just
real-
too many fucking conferences. I think that's what we're
There
getting. at.
really is a whole lot of conferences for no reason whatsoever.
There's an insane amount of conferences. There's like a conference every 3 months or so.
Yeah.
We got it's E3, then we go to Gamescom, then we go to Tokyo Game Show, and then I don't know what the fuck's after Tokyo Game Show, but PAX. Then PAX comes around, and then we go, and then E3's back, and it just there's a couple more in between that I know I'm missing, but there's a lot, and I think we're getting to the point where everybody's like, okay, we can't keep doing this.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's getting to the point where not everyone's releasing a game. More than one game. So going to one Gamescom and then going to another, it's just like, okay, they've seen this chunk of game. How many movie trailers do you see before you're like, fuck it, I've seen the movie?
Yeah, or it's like they just do one announcement at every thing. Like, here's one new game. All right,
Here's
next
another new game.
Here's another new game. Okay, here's the next one. There's another new game. I agree. I think it's just kind of like there's too much. Everybody's got their hand like ready to play, and no one's acting on it because they're waiting for the other one to move. And so all we're getting is like these little tiny announcements until somebody like starts this cascade here. Because like Sony's got the PS4 Neo that we're all waiting to hear about. Xbox kind of came out and said the Scorpio exists, and then NX is getting closer and closer, and we just know it's coming out in March. Like that's the whole thing. Everybody's waiting to play their hand, and so we have all these non-announcements happening. I think that's really what it is. We're just in this, like, everybody's locked in and doesn't want to make a move. I think that's where we're at. Anybody?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
all right. Jesus.
Well, Mitch, they're
way to
not
keep the
going.
conversation going.
They're not going. I mean, there you go. That kind
You look at what was the E3? How much was it for a ticket to go to E3?
Well, it's not really meant for the public, but it's an insane amount.
I love how he
Okay, well,
qualifies it. Well, it's not really meant for you and other normal
It's
people.
not. PAX is like
okay.
the public
Normals.
place.
Okay, well, how much is a ticket for PAX?
I think a 3-day PAX is like 150, something like that. 3-day
Okay.
pass.
A 3-day pass to PAX, which has everybody and their mother in there. You're not going to see everything in 3 days. The lines to even play any of the demos are going to be long as fuck. When
I need the 3-day pass.
Wow. I don't know.
I mean, that's why, like, anytime we talk about going, it's like, I'm not going unless I get a 3-day pass, because I'm not going to have enough time to see every fucking thing. You know? One day ain't going to do shit.
Yeah.
You
Right.
need to be there all 3 days. So, all right, Fallon, why don't you just move on to your last topic here? Let's just go. Let's get into this.
As we all know, I don't play Overwatch, so excuse my ignorance on whatever mistakes I may make about this. But this has to do with
Alright.
Overwatch. So basically, Symmetra Devi's, I think that's how you
Symmetra.
Symmetra.
It's
Is it
Symmetra.
Symmetra. I don't know. So the Devi skin.
It's
Uh,
Debbie and
it's- it-
Goddess.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's right. Yeah, Devi and Goddess, and basically, she's supposed to look like Kali, which is like a Hindu goddess of well, she's a goddess of a lot of bad things. So
You know, to
basically,
be fair, a lot of Hindu gods have a lot of like good and bad mixed in. Like, they're very
yeah. But
rarely-
Kali is kind of more vengeful and dark than most of them. So she's not someone you ever want to really get to know on a deeper level. So basically, but what's basically concerning this is Rajan Zed, who is basically the president of the Universal Society
These
of Hinduism.
names.
Yeah, I know.
I know,
Well,
right?
Indian names are hard.
I know, but
So-
it's just you could hear the struggle and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
these
yeah,
names.
Rajan
This is exactly why we
Zed.
chose Fallon to say this.
Right,
Yeah.
and I'm struggling through this. So, anyway, basically, he doesn't agree with the depiction of how she's being depicted, the skin, and how it depicts her in Overwatch, nor is he completely comfortable with the fact that the players control the movements of the Devi, of Kali there, because he feels that. And with a certain degree of understanding, he feels that this denigrates and kind of trivializes and even culturally appropriates a genuinely authentic goddess figure into a game for you to just kind of play around with like a doll. And so while some people might cry, well, cultural appropriation, social justice warriors, whatever. I mean, I really feel like Muslims would kind of lose their shit if they did this with Muhammad, and some degree of like Christian evangelicals would do this if they had Battle Jesus in there.
I want that.
Yeah, I want that.
so bad. Give me
or
or
the-
Jesus skin.
Yes,
Battle
yes,
Jesus.
right,
Battle
exactly.
Jesus.
So I'm not sure how people would react to this, but I do think that Jews would have a problem if you were able to do this with Moses or whatever. I mean, it's kind of like these are gods and goddesses in Hinduism that it's a very real and alive faith right now. And there's more Hindus, I think, than just about anyone else. So this isn't a minority religion either in terms of the globe, not here in the United States, obviously, but worldwide. And so it's not a pantheon issue either, in the sense of, well, they got Norse and Greek gods, they've had those in forever, how come nobody complains? Like, well, because those pantheons are no longer really worshipped on a large scale.
Bullshit.
Apart from Beth and people who living in the desert.
Basically, what you're saying is that because it's a small religion, it's okay to...
No. I'm not saying it's a small religion. I'm saying that, in terms of the pantheons and the Greek and Norse pantheons...
Some people just don't take offense that easily, basically.
Yeah, you could say that, except for the fact that if you did religious figures of a number of people who worship, for example, Greek and Norse pantheons now, today, in the 21st century... I would
absolutely love to play Thor.
It would... I get that. But what I'm saying is, it's not the same kind of level of religion as, for example, Hinduism, Muslim, Islam, and Christianity. Okay, it's not. It's a much more casual, much smaller kind of religious affiliation. So basically, while that might sound rude, those are the figures. That's the facts. So
I understand. But what I'm saying is that just because they're smaller means we can do whatever we want with them, and because these other religions are larger, we can't.
Well, I'm saying that is one. I'm saying that's one. I'm saying that's one factor. I'm also saying that Hinduism is definitely, like, in other words, these aren't just gods and goddesses that were worshipped at one time and no longer are in a lot of ways. Like, you don't see.
Not only that, but
now I'm kind of curious about like Smite.
What? Well, Smite guy. It's actually listed in this article as the person who made this complaint made a similar complaint.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, that's also being addressed.
And I mean, the thing is like, and here's where I'm thinking though is that, see, the difference with like Norse and like if you want to just wrap in like Roman and Egyptian gods and all that, is that they're typically like those religions. I don't know. Maybe this is just me and I don't know them too well, but I always...
You don't know them, Mitch. You're an atheist.
I mean, it's true, but but what I'm saying is though is that in those religions, at least, or those pantheons or whatever, that depicting them is not like an act of like sacrilege or anything like that.
That's
in
true,
fact,
yeah.
it's part of it, right?
I think that if you were to go back, okay, when there were actually major religions and people actually, and I say this with a degree of tongue in cheek, but people don't worship them with the seriousness, right, that they did before. Okay, now, Beth, I know there's probably somebody there making animal sacrifices to Odin or Thor somewhere. Okay, I get it. But it's one of those things where if you went back, say a couple thousand years, right, and you tried to basically, make puppet dolls of Isis or Ra or whoever, you might suffer consequences for that. It's one of those things where I just feel like, this is something that the Indian people in particular take very seriously, regardless of how it may look to us. And this is their religion. This is something that they don't mess around with. So it's one of those things where that's why I feel like there's kind of a line here between who you can use and who you can't, depending on the time and the culture that we're in and things like that. And so basically what this guy is basically saying is like, look, have a little respect. We still treat these people seriously. These are still gods and goddesses that we believe in and worship and things like that, regardless of whether or not you people may be monotheistic Judeo-Christian believers. We still worship these people. So have a little respect with our deities. And that's kind of where this is coming from.
I also think it's a little different, too, because I noticed a couple people, like, instantly, and you even brought it up, too, is a couple people jump on and like, well, if they did this with Jesus, nobody would care. And it's like, but it doesn't, but again, it's different. We don't treat Jesus as, like, okay, when I say we, I guess I don't mean me in this case, but when I say we, I mean, like, I guess Western civilization.
Yeah.
In some way, is that they don't treat Jesus in the same light or the same seriousness, or I don't think Jesus equates to their like what the Hindu gods are. Like if you
They're
had some
associated
weird
with.
equation that could even them out, I don't think Jesus equals the Hindu gods in terms of where they stand, right?
And this is a matter of depiction too. So it's one of those
Right.
things where they're disagreeing with the aesthetic depiction of how these gods and goddesses are being portrayed. In particular, Kali here. So, for example, if we had Jesus like doing something that was kind of
Un-Jesus.
right, un-Jesus like, you know, or not perhaps
Right, like we had
embarrassing or-
Jesus instead of a carpenter, he was like a welder.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
or dressed in a certain way that was, you know, that certain people felt was inappropriate. Is basically what I'm getting at.
High
here.
heels, yeah, they weren't a big
right,
thing back
exactly. You know,
Jesus
yeah,
Jesus was a cross dresser.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
then.
Or
Jesus as a woman, not
anything
things we
like
were.
that. Or can you imagine if Jesus wasn't a white guy? You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those
Jesus
things.
wasn't
Black
a white
Jesus.
guy.
You know,
He
it's,
wasn't white.
Right,
That's the
exactly.
whole
I mean, we
argument.
already
Purple
have
from
people.
Mars, bitch.
Right,
That's
we already
right.
have people, you know, that get all upset anytime Jesus is depicted as not white. So it's one of those things where I feel like, you know, yes,
I
we
think
definitely
that's a
have
more
that
apt
issue.
comparison.
Inherent
you know,
racism right there.
Yeah. So and if you even try to do this with Muhammad, can you imagine what would
Oh,
happen? So
yeah.
it's
Imagine that jihad right,
right,
there.
exactly. So
Yeah.
so you know, Bobby Kotick would have to marshal the dark forces at his command just to, you know, weather the backlash. But
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I think that there's at least some degree of understanding cultural argument here for the appropriation / trivialization of figures that are still held in seriousness and reverence by a whole lot of people on the Indian subcontinent as well as other places. So yeah,
I
there you
think
go.
I think the problem is there's no easy comparison to like. Although I think we kind of got pretty close with Black Jesus.
Yeah, right.
I think we got pretty close with that, but I think there's no easy comparison for like, you know, taking that kind of Christian or like you said monotheistic mindset and comparing it to
Right.
this mindset of multiple gods and how they're depicted, because we just don't have a one-to-one for that.
Well,
I mean, if
we
you
don't
re-
in Christianity in particular, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Again, I don't know how the Catholics will respond to their saints being used in ways that they might not see as reverential.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You know, or whether, you know, it's one of those things. Depending, like I said, with certain conservative, you know, Christian groups, they might take as extreme issue to Jesus being portrayed in certain ways, or Mary, or whoever, or God, you know, as in the Christian God, you know, like, you know,
See,
if
that's
God
the thing
was a character,
that
you know.
that's the thing I was thinking about, was that like when I think about it, like these are all gods, right? So
Yeah.
like the only like the closest comparison we would get here is that we would have to take like Christian God, right,
Yeah.
and then compare it to their Hindu gods.
And
But the
we'd
problem
have
is
to-
we don't have a depiction, like a real depiction of
It's just
say-
some bearded old asshole. I don't know.
Right, but that's even then. It's not really like the depiction
Right.
of God. It's just like a like they don't
It would
treat it
have
like
to be
it's always a
trivialized.
representation.
It would have to
Yeah.
be trivialized. It would have to be in some fashion that was not reverential.
Yeah.
So maybe paint him up as Santa Claus. I don't know, but you know, it's one of those things where, you know, that's really what we're getting at here. So it's just like, okay, you know, they're like, you know, we understand. To you people in the West, you know, this may not look like something serious, but to other people it is, and it's not even a matter of it being monotheistic. Like I said, Islam is monotheistic, you know, and they would definitely have a huge problem with even their prophet, let alone their God, you know, being depicted in any such fashion in a game. So it's one of those things where, whether it's monotheistic, I mean, here in America, we do enjoy a certain degree of culture right now that isn't so hardcore in some parts, you know, as far as religions are concerned. I mean, we have, I think, none of the members here on this podcast are devout churchgoers.
Oh hell no.
So
In fact, I think Beth goes to the other church.
right,
Like,
exactly. Right. I'm pretty sure Brad.
That's not
does it,
true.
right?
Hail Hydra.
Right. Exactly.
Is that the
right.
wrong-
In the Church of Dagon.
I mean, I always feel like I'm the person who has the most knowledge and understanding of our religions here.
So like yeah, so what is it like? So a Hydra, a Satanist, an atheist, and what would you be, Fallon?
I'm a scholar. All right.
No, oh, get out of here.
Skyrim.
what a
or
cop-out.
Bethesda.
No, he's
Church of Bethesda.
Yeah, the
whatever.
Church of Bethesda.
I'm a Daedra worshiper.
That sounds about right.
or whatever, you know, like whatever. I can't. God, why can't I think of this shit right now?
shit, yo.
Like whatever H.P. Lovecraft religion exists of the dark void.
Right, the old gods. Yeah.
Jesus.
Right,
We're
like
speaking of the old
all.
gods, yeah.
So there you go. A hydran, a Satanist, an atheist, and a walk into a bar.
All hail Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Cthulhu Patan.
Yes, there you go.
There. That's how that joke starts off. Jesus.
That's right.
Here you go.
Mouthful. It only works if you have tentacles.
Oh God. So yeah, I understand. I can get it, and I think a lot of people
But
who are
can
just
you?
taking this as like, oh well, Christians don't care about Jesus, are really kind of missing a
Well,
lot
no,
of
the Christians don't care about other religions.
Right.
That's
Well, it's
pretty
that
much what
too, and it's
That's
the fact
about
that
it.
that
comes down to.
yeah, and they don't, and a lot of people are coming from that. I mean that, and I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm lumping
Let's
people
start
in.
that.
You really
I'm
are.
lumping people in, but I'm not lumping people in, and that it's there's the comparison isn't the same. So just saying like, well, we don't care about Jesus is like, but we do. I mean,
Yeah.
that
In a
You just
way.
need to go to certain places.
yeah, you need to. Yeah, we don't care about like Buddy Christ, which
Yeah.
which is an example in the
Buddy Christ.
comments.
Yeah.
But we don't care about Buddy Christ. But I'm sure there's a lot of people like you said who'd get like fucking outraged if he was black.
Yeah, right,
Or,
you know,
or
or if-
like we don't have Asian Jesus. Where's Asian Jesus?
Right,
Or any
exactly.
I think people would get upset about that, and that's kind of where you have to think this is in comparison. Was that's how they are interpreting adding this to that character, is that like you're saying that this like Hindi god is represented as that, and that's over the line. So so you know what, so either Overwatch I think should scrap it or just go balls to the wall and get Black Jesus
Just
in there.
Fuck it. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, give me Black Jesus.
Yeah, I want to
It's one of the things where I'm playing the game, so it's a little more. It's more to do with the background of the character. Each character has their own, kind of background thing, and that's kind of her. She's of that religion, of those people. Is the
Right.
idea. So they may have gone a little too far,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, trying to
even if they-
represent somebody
yeah.
and they still get mad.
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
just
even
like,
if they.
okay, it almost sounds like one of those things where it's well, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
it's
if it's I can't imagine that Smite's any different.
Well, I'm sure
that-
Smite runs into a lot of issues with that
You know,
because
Well,
it's a problem of like, okay, so we're becoming aware of the cultural appropriation thing and sensitivity to other people's cultures and things like that, and that's
Well,
all
I
well
don't
and
understand
good.
where they're getting like the appropriation.
Well,
thing.
because
It's like
because they're
trying to
basically
be inclusive.
depicting. Yeah, but see, this is where you run into the problem. By trying to be inclusive, you gotta be respectfully inclusive and things like that. You can't just say, "Oh, hey, let's get ourselves one of these
yeah,
Native
Beth, you work
American
at a
people."
smoke. Beth, you
and
work
let's-
at a smoke shop. All right,
Right.
you have the
Yes.
perfect example of what he's talking about. That's those cigar Native American things that
Right.
sit outside of every
Right, exactly,
single
yeah.
cigar shop ever. Are like that
Oh,
is a
God.
perfect example of like just because you got like a Native American dude there doesn't mean it's like the greatest depiction.
Right,
of
and look,
them.
I got my
No.
dream catcher here and everything. So it's like, okay, yeah, and it's a tough thing to do. If you're going to do this, if you're going to import these things in, you just have to make sure, or at least if you're a decent person, you would want to make sure that
Or
you're at
get
least
some,
treating them to you at least can present to a way that those people, or at least the people that usually they that treat these figures seriously, would at least say, okay, that's fine. I mean, that's you're
Or have
always gonna
somebody
have
there to
somebody.
provide some kind of like somebody who knows about it.
Right,
that can be
exactly.
Like, okay, that's too much.
Right,
or,
exactly.
They're like this.
And that's really what this guy's asking for. He's like, look, these are one of our chief, goddesses, and please don't just treat her like a doll. And that's basically what it is. And so it's like, okay, it's fine if you really want these people in a game, you just have to make sure that it would be a good thing to do, to basically say, okay, are we depicting these right? Is this offensive? Let us know. and then go forward there. I'm not saying you can't have them. I'm just saying it's like, okay, there's a moment there where you might want to take some consideration. And yes, I can hear all the people screaming. It's like, oh, everybody gets offended by everything. It's like, well, I mean, there's plenty of other gods and goddesses that you can make up. I mean, H.P. Lovecraft did that, right? So it's one of those things where you can easily make up cool gods and goddesses without appropriating those that we have. So, I mean, you can also do that too.
Appropriation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, I'm offended.
Right, I'm offended. Yes.
I'm offended as a tentacle.
Right, exactly. You can't depict the old god like this.
Right.
They will come and wreck your shit.
Right. So,
I only pray to his highness or his highest noodly appendages.
Oh yes.
I'm waiting for Satan to get
You're
in here,
a
and then the
Pastafarian.
Satanists.
I am. Yeah, my Pastafarianism.
Yeah.
Damn it.
The spaghetti monster has to be treated with respect.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. God,
I wear
now I
I wear
want
this
some
colander
pasta.
on my head for religious reasons. Damn it. God damn it.
Damn it.
Spaghetti monster.
That's
damn it.
appropriate.
Yeah, God damn it. So yeah,
Spaghetti monster,
it's a
damn
very nuanced discussion.
Yes.
On the Hindu thing. And
Thank you for the tone, Mitch.
Yeah. Well, you have to. You have to, because I feel like, oh God, because every time we talk about this shit, I hear the internet comments in
The
my
rage.
head. Yeah. I hear the internet comments in my head of like, no, this is bullshit, social justice warrior, blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole fuck, and I oh God,
It's
it just
a
pisses.
can of worms nobody should be able to open, honestly.
Yeah, it's just one of those
it's
things
bullshit.
where it's so much fucking more complicated than people like treat the discussion, and that's the part that angers me. Is just the people where they just like, well, it's just this, and you're like, how do you know that? And you're like, that doesn't mean shit. It's just one of those things where it's just like, come on, it's a bit, you gotta think on it for a second. It's a little more complicated than whatever your initial thought was.
Right.
It's a little more past that. Dig deep. Well, that's what I'm saying. Dig deep.
There you go.
Dig deep.
Deep.
Dig deep.
Deep as fuck.
Yeah, deep. Get a diglet. Get in there and just dig deep. And
Diglet.
think about it
What
for
about
a
a
moment,
dig
and
trio?
place
Dig
place
trio.
yourself in somebody else's shoes. That's really that. Fuck.
Well, that's
get
gross.
some
What if
other
they have-
shoes. Is what I'm
Get some
getting
What if they
at.
have fucking
Get some other shoes. Go down to the
fungus on their
go
feet.
down to Payless and get some other shoes, and then think about it. That's what I'm saying.
Just fucking think about it.
Just fucking think about it. Just before you get your reactionary response in there, think about it. Think about how it might be the other way, or in their perspective, or from any other perspective than your own. And you might have a different thought. You might
No,
have
that doesn't usually
a
happen.
different thought. Well, no, the
An
problem is that
independent
you
thought
can't
from
think
what they're
outside of your
fucking
perspective.
biased, yeah.
Yeah. The problem is you can't like put yourself outside of your own bias
Right,
sometimes.
right.
So, but just consider that you have a bias, and then you're really getting in there.
Right.
And
There
you're
we go.
really fucking getting in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
I
think
just
we're
want to
done
say
here.
yeah, I think we're done. And
We're done
personally,
here.
just to end on a note here that I want to talk about is that, like, I love the Hindu gods, right? They're the only ones that have done anything for me personally.
Yeah. When it comes right down to it, and Mitch is standing there asking a question, "What have you done for me lately?" I mean, Shiva has answered.
Shiva's the only one who's done anything for me. This is coming from an atheist, right? But like for me, I'm like, if I had to pick a religion,
Yeah,
I'm
if
going
he had a
Hindu.
gun to his head and somebody was like,
Hindu's pretty
"Pick one."
vicious, though, you know, to be honest.
No, oh yeah. I mean, Shiva was the only one that could boost my cell phone signal.
Exactly.
Only God.
And
I
you
mean-
say Shiva, and I think of diamond dust.
I don't know why.
No idea.
I'm still going. If there was a gun to my head, I'm going spaghetti monster.
Spaghetti monster. All right.
All about the
monster.
You
steak.
mean if there was a colander to your head?
Yeah, that too. They were gonna beat me to death with a colander. I'm picking
Spaghetti monster. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but Mitch isn't. He's not kidding around about that. That's a genuine, real story from his experience.
Yeah, I used to way back when I was little. My dad used to rent a place, and the place was like furnished with like all Hindu gods at the time. And they took most of them, the people who we rented it from, out. But there was like one that was like always there forever, and a couple other ones. And one of them was Shiva, and you could get you had the worst cell phone signal throughout the whole entire house. But if you were right next to Shiva, it was like full bars. immediately.
Damn.
Full
Was-
bars.
was- just out of curiosity, because that's the way they do things. Was it happened that it was made out of metal?
What? I
He's
don't
asking
I
if
think
it was
it
made
was,
out
it
of
was probably
metal.
made out of like copper or something.
Oh,
I don't,
okay.
I don't know what copper does for your signal. I know that like aluminum helps.
You know what copper does though? It
What does copper do?
transmit electricity and signals.
Well, then
better.
there you go. See? See,
Aha.
Shiva decided that it was going to be in that form, in copper, and it was going to boost my cell phone signal. But you didn't need to be, like, on top of the fucking thing. You just needed to be around it.
Yeah.
Just needed to be around it. So, yeah, kudos to Shiva. I mean, again, this is like, I'm still pretty hardened atheist over here, but, if I had to
He's
pick
not.
one.
Yeah, he's not compromising his religious non-affiliation.
Right, but if I had to pick one, Shiva. There we go. But I think we're done here. I think we're done with our topics.
We
And
are.
yeah, I think we had a good Shiva discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
All
yeah.
that Shiva.
Yeah.
So we will. We
So
will
much
see
Shiva.
you. So much Shiva.
So
Such
much
wow.
Shiva.
And we will see you all next time with hopefully some better, more juicy news. More juicier news. So don't forget to, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz. We're on, at Pause Your Game. It's the same for all of them. It's all at Pause Your Game. Just look Pause Your Game, you'll find us. Same
Yeah,
thing is
easy peasy.
yeah, it's nice and easy. If you want to support the show, that's easy too. You just go shop on Amazon. You go to pauseyourgame.com/Amazon. It'll take you right to Amazon. And a portion of your purchases will go and help the show out and help us keep that light on. I think we're past the light, though. I think we're on to a secondary fan now.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think we may be on another fan. So, keep that up. And if you ever want some game suggestions or whatever, you just head on over to our A store. So that's just pauseyourgame.com/store. Everything's bought through Amazon again. But, if you're ever thinking like, what game do I want? What game does Pause Your Game recommend? That's over there. We got them all on a list on a nice little area. So go ahead, check that out. But that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
We'll see you all next time. And we're out of here.
Boom.
Enjoyed listening to this episode? Well, help support the show with your next Amazon purchase by bookmarking pauseyourgame.com/Amazon, allowing you to shop Amazon normally while also helping out Pause Your Game. And hey, it'll help us keep that singular light on. And maybe, someday, we can also get a fan. And also more content. We'll definitely put out more content. So if you like listening, make sure your next game purchase through Amazon is through our link, pauseyourgame.com/Amazon. And hey, if you're looking for a great game suggestion, go to pauseyourgame.com/store, where you can purchase games that we at Pause Your Game have already approved of, straight from Amazon. Thanks for listening, everybody.